It's us again.
It's us.
Planning a book. Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. I believe we are making progress. I just looked back at my old notes. We've been doing this for like a month and a half now. Planning a book.
I was going to ask how many sessions we've done.
This will be our 6th.
Oh, look at us being productive and stuff. Wow.
And we really are. We're doing all of the plotting, like on camera. We're like thinking about it in our free time some, but I know I'm doing the bulk of my thinking about it in these chats.
Yeah, same. Yeah. The first, like I told Maisie this already, but like the first day after we had like our first big brainstorming session. Like that's when it's the most exciting, I feel like, when you first sit down and you're like, oh my God, I have all these ideas. I know like the first day for like 2 days afterwards, all I could do is think about the Seaside Cult book is like stuck in my head. And I was like, oh no, because I have another project. I'm supposed to be writing this other a druid book. And so I was like, oh no, all I can think about is the Seaside Cult book. But that's kind of like balanced itself out. I feel like I can sort of divide. I don't know about you, but usually I'm not great at dividing my attention. And this time I seem to be able to. So
it's hard to say. I think I used to be a lot more, but I've been co-writing with Kyra for 6 years now. 5 years? Now. Yeah, 5 or 6 years now. And so now my brain is like, no, we need our drafting project, our different genre drafting project, our revisions project. And because no one's paying me to do it at this point in time, there's low stakes. Like you finish things a little slower when you have that many projects on the side, but
yeah. Are you still finishing things? That's impressive.
I am, yeah.
I think that I'm going to be able to kind of divide my focus a little bit better because it's the two of us versus me alone trying to divide my focus.
Yeah.
Because like I know that you can sort of program your brain for like, okay, we're shifting gears in, this collaborating on video type of thing. And now my brain is like, okay, now we think about this when we're in this situation. So
for sure. Yeah. And there really is something to be said for like, oh, my co-author is expecting this from me. I have to do one of these this week because it's expected of me.
Yeah. And I'm interested in, because like Maisie is like old hat at this, like, know how to like write a chapter and send it back and forth and like collaborate on a story together. Like I have brainstormed with people before. Like this part is fun to me, but I haven't, like, I'm sure the other part will be fun too, but I haven't done that other part yet. So I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm having this interesting thing that I just realized in the book I'm writing with Kyra right now. And we've had this conflict. So Kyra and I, we've technically written, we're coming up on the end of our 4th book together. And every single time this has happened, but this is the first time that I've recognized what is happening. We hit about the climax of the book and Kyra has just like mountains of ideas. She is like, she's like cranking out chapters so fast, writing so much, is so excited. And I am over here like, this is the worst material I've ever written. Like, I think everything Kyra's writing is great, but I look at myself and I'm like, this is terrible. It's going to take so much to fix it. And I take forever. And I thought for the longest time that it was just like me being too critical or something, but it really is like every book I've ever written, I've stalled out at the climax and taken a little bit to like work my way through it. And it is like really weird, all these things that you don't think about when it's just your book that you're doing.
Interesting.
But then it's like, oh, this is like causing a little bit of not like personality friction, but just it's like clogging up the works a little bit.
So you have different crisis points, because that's very interesting. I do know that I have a crisis point and it almost is always in the first act, I guess, like going into the second act. Like at that point in the Druid book right now where I feel like things are spinning out of control. Like it's this sense of like, am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Time to panic. Like usually I can push through it and just try to follow the plot that I've laid out. But it's interesting you said that. Like, yeah, I would call that like oh, this is my normal crisis point. This is the point
this is
where
we pause for crisis.
This is where we pause for crisis, is let's write that in the schedule. Yeah, I do that as well. It's just at a different point as well. It's interesting. I don't think I'm at the I'm also not a person like Kyra that has tons of ideas and it's like feeling great during the climax part of the story either. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm much more of like a plot and then I kind of discover my way to character arcs while I'm doing it. Whereas Kyra is kind of the reverse of me, where like she knows the characters like pretty well. And if she doesn't know what their exact arc is, she like knows how they would interact with each other. And so you can get like so much of a scene if you understand the character well enough to know what they're going to do with the other characters. Whereas for me, I'm always like, Kyra has all these amazing character things and we didn't plot this because Kyra doesn't like plotting very much. And so what am I bringing to the table here? And it truly is just always me having a crisis. It's never actually a problem.
I'm going to be really interested to see if it will be different because we have plotted more extensively. Like if there will be less crisis. I'm also interested to see in my crisis spot as well in the first third if there'll be less crisis, because like I feel like my little panic is always like, what if my plot isn't good enough? But if we have two people plotting, I'm like automatically assume the ideas are better, so maybe I won't have the little crisis.
Yeah, and Zoom is giving me some
I can
sass.
It says that we have 9 minutes remaining.
Just gonna check if they're about to kick us off.
What you doing, Zoom?
Yeah,
because it doesn't usually do this when we're recording, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Curse you, Zoom. I mean, not curse you. Please don't kick us off. Wait. Oh no, never.
Yeah, they just changed it.
Oh no.
Zoom.
How dare you, sir? So are we gonna have to just do this in like 10-minute increments?
I think normally it's 40 minutes, but we chatted for a long time right before this.
Oh, right. That's true. Okay, so we could just record this and then start again, I guess, once it kicks us off.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll just see how this goes. Welcome to the chat, you guys. This is the whole behind the scenes. You are getting the messy, uncut shenanigans of how we operate. So
yeah. I guess if we wanted, we could just stop it now and then dive immediately into the next one. That way it's like we don't get cut off and I can just paste the two together.
That's smart. Okay. So yeah, let's agree to like wind this one down, and then as soon as we jump into the new one, we will pull up the spreadsheet and actually start working like we're supposed to do. Okay.
Excellent. All right.
Awesome. All right.
And we're back. 40 minutes on the timer.
There we go.
So if you recall, this is our spreadsheet. We made it a couple meetings ago, and we've got the basic beats that we've been thinking of. Top priorities for today are combining plot lines and reveals and killing. Oh no, we figured out how to kill Prophet.
Yes. I guess we should write that in, shouldn't we? Where do we kill the Prophet? Towards the end, right?
Let's give the Prophet his own row.
Prophet Junior.
Let's make him orange.
See you in your nightmares. I love all the little random note snippets. Throw her in the trench? ?
Okay.
Already killed her parents. Oops.
We're gonna kill him around here, right? Like right at the end.
Yeah, the climax. Because I'm guessing because he's gonna be part of the climax.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing once we have killed him off, Prophet Senior's already dead, and the cult members are gonna kind of be milling about without you've cut the head off the wolf, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then we have this not really falling action. We have this final huge thing where Lily's like, we could just leave. And Eden's like, no, let's burn this place down. And then that is the huge climax. I have something in my eyeball. Ow, ow. Okay. And that would be the huge actual climax where the lighthouse bursts with the void.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that as a final image. Are we going to have like a falling action sort of part where we have a closing scene with the two of them? Or do we want that to be the very final?
I could go either way. I do love just a slam to black in a horror. We can see how it feels once we get there. If it's like, no, let's give them one more scene.
Sounds good.
Or like a short epilogue that's just like them lying on the beach.
I'm going to consider also having some kind of Stephen King, Carrie-esque announcement about her second book coming out and how she's like a recluse on this island now, basically.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I think that alone could be a good epilogue.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
I did pink. I don't know what blue that is. What was I thinking? Not that one either.
Oh well. You got it.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as plot lines go, we've got Lily's whole thing is she's coming to the island to figure out how to do the next book. Mm-hmm. She's recording people, searching for stories. We've got Eden, who wants to make Lily's life hell and make it so she can't go back.
Yes.
And then we've got Prophet Jr. as kind of the main human antagonist to our two antagonists.
Yes. And sort of he comes along with the cults.
Yeah.
I don't know if we necessarily need to have another whole line for the cults. He could probably just be.
Yeah, I think it's okay if they just dip
synonymous for the cults.
Yeah.
Do we want a line for anyone else? Eden's mother, Lily's parents, or should we just kind of lump them in with a cult if we wanted to? And we might not want to mess up the sheet too much.
Yeah, I was thinking about this today. I was thinking maybe once we start like really diving in, since you and I are both more plotting minded, we could meet and be like, okay, here's like what we're planning to do. And then we could get more specific about like, okay, what are the parents doing? What are all these people doing?
Right.
And for that, we could make like a bigger spreadsheet that's like the next 5 chapters or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Did we injure anyone? What day of the week is it?
Okay, cool. Perfect. So do we want to maybe go through how do we want to go through and weave everything together? I guess we could, like, I usually start, I don't know about you, I usually start with the bad guy.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Okay,
like we kind of know what they want to do, but like what is he gonna be doing that's throwing wrenches in even when they don't realize it?
Exactly, especially because their plot is kind of straightforward, what they want to do to each other. So like we know what's happening there, but if we have this underlying like core or backbone of this is what the prophet's doing the whole time. Because he also causes the climax, so it's a good place to start. Let's see. Does he have anything to do with Lily coming to the island? Because how far ahead has he planned this, do we think?
I don't think he's planned this part.
Okay.
I think maybe there is an element, maybe even in his mind, an element of like divine intervention. You were like brought to me.
Right.
Because
I like the idea that the cult, like, because we talked about the cult having like an underlying plan and being able to manipulate the girls because the girls are so wrapped up in pissing off each other. So I do like the idea of them having some, like the prophet in particular, having some kind of like underlying plan. Who's ringing my doorbell?
It's me.
I'm going to ignore.
I'm at your house.
You're in two places at once. Somebody is. I'm just gonna hope. I'm not gonna get it, and I'm gonna hope no one comes in and murders me. Okay.
So maybe because we talked about his like, he's not in power just yet when the book starts. So maybe for him, a catalyst is like he has his first vision, and it like sets off like, oh, now I get to start doing things. So like he has this first vision that he might not have actually had. He might be lying, but he had a vision, and that's like the trigger that's like, we're gonna train him now to be in power.
Give me 1 sec. Somebody's definitely walking around in my house. I'm just gonna make sure it's my husband and not
a murderer. Perfect.
If I don't come back, it's a murderer.
I'm gonna write down vision, because I don't think she hated that idea. I think there was just someone in her house.
It is in fact my husband and not a murderer. We are all good.
I mean, that's good for safety, but just think of the story.
Alive, or not live, I guess, but recorded murder during a horror novel. No. I do not volunteer for this.
No, only
you.
Staged murders.
Okay, so vision catalyst, we think he's going to be faking this. What's his kind of like, did we talk about his motivation? Like, I know he disagrees with his dad. We talked about that because the prophet senior is kind of more like, what did we say? He's more modern, like flipping that around a little bit and having.
Yeah, he's like a little more chill.
Yes. And prophet junior is like, no, we need to go back to fire and brimstone preaching. We need to go back to fear of the demons. We need to go back to, I really like the idea that like that really flips it on its head. So the younger one is the more fanatical one. Maybe prophet senior is like starting to relax some of the rules, maybe starting to relax some of the, because maybe he doesn't necessarily believe the demons are real, ? Can't remember what we said about that.
I don't know, because they're definitely faking some of them.
Yeah.
So he at least knows some of them aren't.
Exactly. But maybe it doesn't work for him to not believe because there would still be stuff going on. But maybe he thinks they have things like really under control or something. Like maybe he's starting to relax things slightly, and Prophet Junior is not about that. And doesn't yeah. Because like they do have like a fairly like welcoming, not what, but like they're fine with queer people and stuff. Like the cult isn't it's
more of a utopian cult than it is.
So maybe Prophet Junior doesn't like that. Do you think? Like maybe he wants it to be more fire and brimstone. Do you think? But
I think
he's not in charge, so it's not until about almost just before the climax.
Yeah. I think maybe like for Junior, there's an element of like, okay, so we're faking 75% of these. You're telling me that means that 25% of them are actual demons, and we're not gonna like be a little concerned about that, maybe like boss people around with it.
I also want there to be, I definitely think we talked about an element of like super like a lot of jealousy involved, specifically around Eden, because she's their kind of like golden prophecy girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe Prophet Senior lets her get away with a lot, and Prophet Junior does not like that. Prophet Junior does not
because
like
he thinks
her.
she's really fake.
Yeah,
he does not like her,
but he's fake too. So
he's fake too. Yeah,
he doesn't like anyone stepping on his fake toes. You know, he's the charlatan around here.
Which I think is why Eden is probably just like, yeah, we're friends. We both hate each other, but we're friends.
Exactly. Oh, there's
like, I keep telling you I'm not your friend.
There's so much opportunity for like a lot of backhanded compliments, and like I really like the subtext, and yeah, so good. That's gonna be really fun to write.
Yeah, so maybe he sees like, oh shit, Lily's back in town, like things are happening and my dad's not seeing it, and so that's when he fakes a vision. So that way he can start having some of the power.
Mm-hmm.
And we obviously won't say right at the beginning that it's fake, but
what are his thoughts around Lily, and why is he threatened by her coming back into town? What do you think?
I don't know if it's necessarily threatened so much as he sees it as an opportunity.
Okay. An opportunity to sort of like kick her off the pedestal she's on, so to speak.
Like kick off the whole, like, I don't know how much he knows about what he's going to be aiming for over here in this like ending. But like the ultimate ending for them is to complete the sacrifice.
Right.
And so if he has some inkling, even if he's like, I was praying about this or something, and then she showed up.
I think we should give him a problem. I think we should give him a problem that is solved by the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And completing the sacrifice, and maybe he is having issues with the void. Do you think maybe he did something to do with the void, thinking that he wanted to be a version of Eden, because Eden is this like glorious golden prophet girl, or not a prophet, but a saint or whatever to them. And he's super jealous when they're kids, maybe, or when they're young teens.
Have him be her little foil.
So he does something to do with the void, which fucks him over really bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only way he can figure out how to get rid of it is eventually figures out he needs to close the void to free himself in some way. Maybe he doesn't figure that out right away. Right.
Yeah. Maybe he like fucks it all up, and he's like, we wouldn't necessarily see him doing this, but he's like, I've really messed this up. I need to start like praying for help. And like the next day is when Lily shows up in town.
Yes. And he knows, so God sent her to me. So this must mean she is in some
I need to look into this
way. Yeah. She's in some way the answer to my problem. He just doesn't know how until he figures out only half of this, ritual was completed. Oh, she's been sent to me. She is the other half of the ritual. Okay. So I love the idea too of playing with him. Like Eden is a void creature, but if Prophet Junior is also going to be a void creature, I really love the idea of making him like my brain is short-circuited. What's a red herring? So if we make him a red herring and make him like, not initially, but maybe at first she sees stuff happening and she thinks it's him instead of Eden. Because he could be more obviously creepy in the first, I don't know, first third of the book or something.
And even if it's just like we know I know something's up with you. Like, I don't like you. You're setting off just like that, just like evolutionary instinct of like something is
tingle
wrong
on the
here.
Back of your neck.
Yeah.
Somebody is. What if he's like kind of following her around and stuff. Like she is already walking around town, recording stuff, interviewing people, but maybe he's just like constantly there. Like he's at the coffee shop in the background. He's standing across the street, like, because he's trying to figure out why she's been sent to him or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe he would just be always there. And she's like, there's something really weird about him. Because she would have known him as a kid and knew that he was like a weird, awkward child who was probably kind of like obsessed with Eden, also hated Eden. Or maybe she thinks he's following Eden because Eden is always there. Because too.
Lily is also following Eden.
Yeah, exactly.
They just have a moment of like,
yeah.
No, maybe, I'm following you.
Yeah. So maybe Lily is like, your golden retriever boy is still following you around. Gross. And Eden is like, yeah, ugh, he's so annoying. And they don't realize until it's too late that Prophet Jr. is tailing Lily, not Eden.
And Eden would just be like, yeah, of course he's following me.
Of course he's following me. I'm the shit.
Why wouldn't he follow me?
Who wouldn't follow me? Okay. You're
following me too. Who isn't?
Be like, no, you're the one who showed up to this coffee shop, Eden. Actually, no, Lily would be. We do have to figure that out. I think Lily would be not necessarily following Eden, but she would be wherever she was.
Keeping tabs on her.
Recording her, taking notes, maybe taking pictures when she thought Eden wasn't looking. I don't know. We'll see. I actually like that idea too, because that's very creepy. Eden can't be the only one creepy. So Lily's going to take some like cell phone pictures of her when she thinks Eden isn't looking, but Eden will be like, I am looking, I'm posing. My hair blowing.
She like turns so the wind is blowing through her hair.
Get my left side.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Lily should like be old school snobby about it and like do Polaroids or something so she can have one of those crazy boards that she sticks stuff up on with like yarn and stuff. That's so funny because we were talking about Eden having a shrine. Well,
she would find this and be like, ha ha ho, how
not the only obsessed, how the turntables, not the only one obsessed. Be like, and Lily would be like, mine is smaller, it's just a bulletin board.
Yeah, it doesn't count as a shrine if it's just a stalker bulletin board.
It's not a whole wall, there's no candles.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
Eden's like, well, I think some candles would be a nice touch.
Yours is so plain. Get a few different colors of yarn at least. God. Okay, so
I do feel like I have a pretty solid idea of what both of their voices are.
Yeah, weirdly enough, yes.
I'm sure it'll be difficult in actually writing, but
yeah, that's always the case, isn't it? I'm just gonna watch a bunch of Audrey Plaza videos. Just for the tone more than anything. Like she wouldn't necessarily say the shit Audrey Plaza says. It would just be the delivery. She's like Audrey Plaza mixed with like the most pretentious literary writer you can think of.
Yes.
Smush that together. What kind of monster is that? Yeah. Okay, so Prophet Jr. has fucked with the void. Whoops. Oops.
And so for his fun and games, he's really just he's following them, which means he needs to maybe build to like, he also finds something out around the midpoint.
Mm-hmm. Well, when do we bump off his dad? Because that is really his turning point, right? Because they accidentally kill his dad and he's going to assume he's going to assume it's on purpose.
Yeah. So do we want to kill his dad like before Eden kills Lily's parents or after?
Good question. So for the first death, things are going to, I think we could do before maybe, because actually I guess the question is, does Eden make it look like an accident when she kills the parents, or is she like very much like they're strung up and there's blood on the wall type of thing? Like she would want Lily to know.
Yeah, I don't think she would
her.
want I think she would maybe stage like a demon incident.
Oh, that's good. Okay. That's good. Okay, so okay, let's do that before then, I think, because that could work out in that Prophet Junior is like, it was the demons, because, you know, Eden has staged it that way, but he can also say like, it was the demons that are in Eden or whatever. And he's like, now I definitely need to take care of these two.
Okay.
And it could also work really well to kind of whip the rest of the cult into this frenzy of like, their beads didn't help them. Their prayer beads didn't help them. You know, demons are loose in the streets. And then they would turn to Prophet Junior and be like, save us, which would,
and he could actually make demons be loose in the streets, which would like really freak Eden out. Like really throw her for a loop.
Good question. Does Eden know Prophet Junior has messed with the void and become like a little void demon himself, or no?
I think she thinks that he's playing with something beyond his comprehension, which in a way he is, but I think she knows at first that he's interested in it and doesn't realize initially how far he's delved.
So she thinks he's just playing with something or like dabbling with it, but she doesn't know that there's like a fragment of it in him. Yeah, because I'm thinking he will be, because I'm thinking he'll be like she's full void creature. I'm thinking he'd be like slowly turning that way.
Yeah.
So maybe that can be a good reveal too. Possibly midpoint, I don't know, where Lily and Eden find out he is also a void creature. Oh shit, type of thing.
What if we throw that closer to the end? That way they have less time.
Good idea.
To react to it.
Yeah, good idea.
Like before he's making his moves.
Just before the climax kind of thing.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That way it's like dealing with him being a void creature isn't like a big part of the plot. It's just like, oh, like shit, he has this power and now like he's going to do these things and we don't actually know how.
And that also works in because the climax was kind of cloudy aside from him getting killed. So I think this works really well to have like a big clash. Like he is the climax kind of, along with the cult, of course, but
for sure.
And also he works really well because we kind of had this like, oh, the cult is doing this while they're distracted. And so I think it works really well to have him be the main antagonist leading the cult in their plan to do something. So
maybe we kill his dad in the fun and games?
Yes, I think so, because that's when they're fighting each other. I'm figuring they are fighting each other, Lily and Eden, and the Prophet Senior gets taken out as kind of like a accidental byproduct of them fighting each other. If that sounds good.
Yeah, I like that.
A question is, this kind of goes back to Lily and Eden, which I'm sure we'll talk about them lots, but you know, speaking of they've done something that accidentally kills Prophet Senior. We've got Eden as a void creature, but how does Lily fight back against a void creature?
Cutting remarks.
I'll write about you in my next novel.
Just you wait 3 to 5 years and it's over for you. That's a good question.
That's a good question. Because I think that Eden is going to be very subtle at first, right? She's like, I'm just going to torment the shit out of Lily, which is all good and fine.
It would be a bit of like dramatic irony or whatever if she has to start relying on the like religious imagery that she previously hated so much as like her form of protection. Like the necklaces do protect you. Like,
yeah, that's true. Actually, I do like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe. Okay, so that is her weapon, I guess, which she hates. She would hate that so much.
She's like, her quest is just to find a different weapon.
Would a stake work on you?
Yeah, perhaps a stake.
So maybe for when the prophet's accidentally killed, that could be Eden's like first attempt at like genuine attempt at like, okay, I'm gonna kill Lily now.
Yeah.
I think because we do this a few times, right? Like she toys with her, Lily figures out what's going on finally, and then Eden's like, okay, fun's over, we're gonna kill you. And obviously it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have several more attempts where they try to kill each other.
Yeah.
Oh, what? We're recording. Why? Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, so
yeah, I can just pause this. Do you want me to pause the recording?
Yeah, just for 1 sec.
Pause.
I guess I just
Oh wait, hang on, I didn't pause the recording. And we're back.
Okay, so we were talking about attempts at killing each other and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it always boils down to.
And so Lily, she's like doing all of these things in like a literary way. Like, how can I make this happen in a dramatic way?
Right.
Meanwhile, Eden is like, I absolutely will not let you kill me because obviously killing me would be the climax of your book. And is just generally tormenting. I feel like at some point in this like second half of the midpoint, we're gonna need a little more for Eden to do, but that can be a future problem. Well, I guess at that point Eden is now like, she wants to torment Lily, but also has like Prophet Junior wants her dead. And
yes, and also at some point feelings are going to come into play as well.
Yes, romantic feelings.
Yeah.
And I think also once Prophet Junior has started like really diving into like messing with the void and trying to get, like, he's not doing parlor tricks to scare people anymore. Like this is now actually drawing like energy. Like maybe it's not an unlimited amount of energy in the void or something, or she can even just like feel that, like, even if there is an unlimited amount of it,
I think we should
feel it moving.
I
weirdly.
think we should do a point where we have a point where Lily and Eden both kind of recognize that they actually genuinely have feelings for each other. And then either at that point or just after that point, Prophet Junior does something that drains Eden in some way, or like Lily has to help Eden. And that can be like a point where they both realize, oh, we have feelings for each other, even if we've been trying to kill each other this whole time.
So do we want that as far deep as like the all is lost moment, or do we want it a little before then?
Bad guys close in. Well, they have to cooperate with each other at a point, because what is the point where they realize, you know, they've been so caught up with each other trying to kill each other that, oh shit, there are people trying to kill both of us and we need to team up. So where do we have that point?
I think probably when we find out that he's void creature.
Okay,
so now like, or like he does something really bad and it's like, oh, we should probably team up to deal with it. And then immediately after you find out he's part void creature and it's like, oh shit, like,
right,
we were planning for this other thing.
Yeah, okay, that's good, because I feel like it's not necessarily the most subtle thing, the fact that he's like actually a void creature. And like when they finally stop fighting each other and team up, they're like, oh shit, we probably should have realized he was a void creature before now, but we've been too busy punching each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is around, we have feelings.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
This
I think-
is where we try to kill Eden and almost succeed.
We doing, oh, who is the prophet is? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
prophet.
Yeah. Cool. Perfect. And then kind of that's going into the climax right away. Sort of.
Yeah, and so that like breaks us
Okay.
right into like a moment of all is lost, like,
Okay. Perfect.
and then
they realize, like, obviously up until this point, Lily and Eden have been like,
what if they think like, what if they think they have like this now we must work together moment,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, we come up with a plan. He's gonna come for Eden again, and then
Right.
instead he comes for Lily, and that's the all is lost.
Oh.
And then we break into 3. Like Lily they've got Lily now.
Okay, I like that. Because you mislead the reader into thinking that he, his whole thing is that he wants to come after Eden, and then it's really Lily.
And we'll have to figure out too, like, because originally we'd planned on Lily being like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to leave. And so, like, do we also have that here where she's like, you're on your own? Or do we have them be like, no, we're going to stick together? And we could think about that a little more if we need to.
Yeah. Because I think we would have room for it. Yeah. I mean, technically we could have room for it because she could have this choice. Because we had it that they were going to poke holes in a boat, basically, expecting that she would do the runaway act like last time, and she chooses not to. So we could have some way of them making her think that she has this choice to leave, but that they were going to kidnap her basically instead. I guess that's something we could think about at a later date.
Yeah, I want to think about this a little bit more.
Yeah,
think
decide
more about,
because I feel like at this point they have decided they're gonna work together, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to have like everything's all messed up, but then somehow weirdly their relationship is like doing better than ever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool.
Okay, Zoom is going to kick us off in 4 minutes.
Do you want to go for one more session, or do you want to wrap up pretty soon here?
I could go for another. If
Yeah,
you're around. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm back again.
I want to sing the Backstreet Boys song. Oh my God, we're back again. Yeah. I guess it'll just be us being like, we're back every time in a continuous video anyway.
Just a continuous loop of,
cool.
Look at us, Zoom's not getting a dime.
You are the worst, sir. That was Zoom, not to you. Like I would call you sir, which is really strange.
I feel like, okay. Well, I deserve some respect.
Go wear your book daddy hat next time.
Yes. I love that hat with all my heart.
Amazing.
Okay.
So
they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna work together. Think more about possibly like tricking Lily into trying to leave, or like, I feel like the classic one is, like we're gonna meet here, but someone doesn't come. And so you assume they've left.
Which was the first one we had, right? Sort of.
Yeah.
So we've already sort of done that. I think
if we did something like that, I'd want to maybe turn it on its head a little. Yeah. It's so expected.
Yeah. But also I feel like we can leave that for now, right? And come back to it if we want to still do do they tempt her to leave type thing. We want to think about that.
Yeah.
Table it for now.
Yeah, let's table it for now and think about it later.
Okay. So I'm still undecided. Okay, so we were kind of thinking mostly about Prophet Junior and kind of like what he's doing to drive the story forward.
I think we have the barest bones of his arc down okay now. Maybe in this like mid part over here, before he reveals. So he's like messing with the demons, throwing those in the loop.
Right. And is he doing that? I get why we talked about this. Is he doing that to like control the cults? Essentially,
yeah,
okay.
to keep, because he's got a couple balls that he's juggling. He wants to deal with Eden and get her out of the way. He thinks Lily has something to do with it, but he's not sure what yet. But he thinks that like God has told him that Lily has something to do with it. And then simultaneously, it's like, I'm sure running a cult is quite complicated.
Oh yes, for sure.
Has a lot of, you know, administrative responsibilities.
Paperwork, man.
Yeah.
I guess we have to figure out where in the plot and how he discovers this thing with the sacrifice they did, or the ritual they did, and how he figures out that it's not complete, and decides like, this is what God was telling me, this is what I have to do.
So we do have Eden's mom that he could like, if he could convince her to talk to him. Like she does have, like she is our only key really to that day since we kill Lily's parents. And I mean, we'll have all the other older people who are in the cult, but we have them as named characters at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be an idea. And it would definitely piss Eden off if he went to talk to her parents.
Yeah, I'm writing down here, I want to maybe in that second half of the midpoint, after the midpoint, make Eden talk to her mom at some point. Because I don't think they talk often.
So maybe he comes sort of sniffing around her mom's place, and something has put him onto the trail of maybe he wasn't there for the sacrifice, the ritual thing. Maybe
could have been a baby too-ish.
Were they all okay? So they were around 2 years old when all of this went down for the actual.
I think Eden was a baby.
Okay, because he could have been older. Like if we made him a bit older, the night that they do the ritual thing, he could accidentally fuck up and get the void in him.
He would have to be way older, I feel like, for that to happen, and keep it very secret.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Oh yeah, and the void kind of has to be already established for him to do that. Okay, so maybe that doesn't work.
What if we use a combination of like, because they're keeping all these records, right? They have their little printing press that they're printing all the miracles. So maybe like he has all of these books to review, and maybe like one of them is missing, and like Eden's mom took it or something. And that would like lead him to her. Well, and maybe Lily's also finding it.
So the ritual they did, only half completed. Did they even figure out? So the ritual kind of went wrong because they had incomplete information. And so I guess we have to figure out if Prophet Senior realized what they did wrong afterwards, because that's the only way that it would even be in his records, or if they never figured out why the ritual wasn't complete, and the Prophet Junior does later.
Because I think Senior at least would think like it did work. Like now our problems are only at night, and they used to be all the time. And so to them, it might be like, oh, it was this great thing. Like our sacrifice worked and they didn't even make us kill a baby. We still got to keep the baby. What a miracle. And then maybe like this boy who either grew up with or is within however many years of this girl has like hated her this whole time. Like I think it would be reasonable for him to make that leap of like, well, it's not a sacrifice because she didn't die.
Yeah. I also feel like one of the reasons he would hate her is because I feel like he got the void younger, because when he was maybe like a preteen or something, he was jealous of her, got the void, and then because they know, do they know that she has the void and is controlling it, or do they not know she has the void?
The cult doesn't know.
Okay, the cult doesn't know.
Eden knows, and Lily knows ish, but she's in denial.
So Prophet Junior won't know. So maybe he goes to the void by himself then. And tries to like get some kind of power of his own, basically.
And he wouldn't know that it's even a void situation.
Yeah, he's just trying to like touch a part of the miracle or something, and it goes really badly wrong. And then I'm trying to think, maybe because he is part void creature, that gives him some hint in some way about the ritual. I'm not sure what. Or we could do, if the, Prophet Senior, I don't know, keeps journals or something, and he goes through them and figures out his dad was like, I feel like we didn't complete the ritual. As we have to figure out where the ritual.
Does he have to prove that it would work?
No, he definitely doesn't. But he has to figure. Well, I want to figure out where he's got this theory from.
Yeah.
The ritual was like only halfway completed, and for some reason, Lily is the other part of it, right?
What if he got the void in him the same day that Lily left?
That could, see, people that are really, really, really religious in a fanatical way do stuff like that, where they like numbers click in their heads and dates and stuff, and number 7 means this. So yeah, if he got the void, if it all went badly wrong the same day that she left, and yeah, maybe.
And he wouldn't necessarily see it as badly wrong.
Well,
I think like if you're running a cult and like suddenly you have some sort of cosmic power that you don't understand, you think like, aha, a blessing.
I feel like for him though, because I feel like one of the reasons he continues to hate Eden is because eventually he figures out she has the void and she's able to use it. And like she dances in the streets and she has fun. And I feel like for him, the void isn't clicking well. Like it's not sitting with his system well. And he's like rotting from the inside out, basically. That was my idea. So that would be another reason for him to hate her, because it's like you were given all this power, but it's killing me, or it's putting me through tremendous pain type of thing. So I think of it as he thinks it's a problem. And when he closes the void, he will be rid of this, which is why he wants to do the ritual.
Yeah.
That was my, that's how I was picturing why he wants to close the void.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right. If he did think of it as a good thing, if he thought of it as a power, he wouldn't want to close the void.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I'm thinking like how people typically with bad ideologies think like, oh, people who are sinning are having so much fun. And I understand the burden of like this power. Like if he thinks she's also rotting from the inside, but just likes the feeling of rotting, like, you know how like super righteous people are like, oh, they're having more fun sinning. And me, I understand the burden of truth. And then seeing it as this like, but if we get rid of her, it'll get rid of sin, essentially.
Yeah. So it's like a cross he has to bear, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But God brought Lily to us. So clearly we're supposed to close the void and complete the circle type of thing.
Yeah. So maybe something in particular, instead of like, oh, he now has the void in him and then he's asking for help and Lily shows up. So maybe something else bad happens to him, like right before her arrival, since like the void is already in him. So So something else bad happens that he can be like, this is too much. I need you to show me what to do. And then Lily shows up and he's like, ah.
Yeah, something about his father, I feel like. Are we gonna have a no, go ahead. What?
I was gonna say, what if someone left the island? Like it's not even necessarily like a boy. Like, what if he was supposed to be there, like working and someone left? And he's like, I can't keep track of all of this.
Is this when his father is still in charge?
Yeah, at the very
beginning. Yeah. It could definitely be something that makes him think like his father is losing the cult, like losing hold of the cult. Yeah. And like, I need to something, or maybe something to do with, I think it should be something to do with Eden. So she does or says something that makes Prophet Junior think my dad is losing control of this cult. He's losing control of this town because of her. And like, Lord, show me what to do to fix this, to fix my father's sins, essentially.
Yeah.
So Eden is up to some bullshit. Maybe something that is preparing for Lily's arrival or something.
She does burn down the motel.
Oh, well, there you go. So maybe she burns down the motel because she's bored. So, or, you know, and Prophet Senior,
he thinks she's just bored and getting more unproductive. And she's like, no, I'm preparing for my guest.
Yeah. So the Prophet Senior and Prophet Junior, or maybe Prophet Junior like overhears Prophet Senior lecturing Eden, be like, I know you're the one who burned down the hotel. Why did you do that? And then Prophet Junior realizes like, my dad he has such a soft spot for her, like the golden child, that he isn't even going to get her in trouble. He isn't even kicking her out of the cult or like demoting her or telling people she's done this.
Yeah. Even if he's just like, I know you are the only one who can go out at night. Like, did you do it? And she's like, no, it wasn't me.
And she just lies to his face.
She's the only one who can go out at night.
Yeah. And then he realizes his dad is like completely blind to the fact that she's evil or whatever.
Yeah.
And is like, my dad is losing his touch. Like, I need a sign, show me what to do type of thing. And then the next day, essentially, Lily comes and he's like, oh, this is it.
Okay.
His dad just gives her a slap on the wrist, basically, because she's the golden child still.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one thing my brain is still circling around is sort of how he figures out, how he comes to the conclusion that he needs to kill Lily. And complete the circle and close the void.
So they kill his dad, accidental or no?
Yes,
they do kill his dad.
Yes.
So he starts trying to turn people against Eden.
And maybe when he's throwing more demons out in the street, he's like, look, this is what's
because
happening
of her.
Now. Because of her. And maybe that brings up a lot of talk about the first miracle and blah, blah, blah. And maybe he does go talk to her mother. That might be a good, and also that could be, because we have a point where Lily and Eden realize the prophet is up to some shit, like Junior is up to something. And so maybe that can be when they start to cotton on to like, oh, why did he go talk to your mom?
Yeah. So maybe he like goes and talks to her mom. He's like, comes up with this idea for what he thinks will complete the ritual. And then like right after it, they go and talk to her, or Eden goes and talks to her mom. And that's where like they find out that he was there. Since we don't have his like POV, she can be having this emotional moment with her mom. And it's like, oh, you're the second person who's come to see me.
Would he do anything to hurt her mom, do you think?
I don't
think so. Because he's like a fake. But I feel like also Eden's mom wouldn't want to necessarily tell him much, do you think?
No, I don't think she would want to tell him very much.
But she does end up telling him something.
Even if it's just in writing, if she has a miracle book or she has a journal, like if he can take it from her. Or
I wonder if, because we've got him talking to Eden's mom, and then we've got the revelation that he's part void creature pretty close after that. I wonder if
go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if he does, maybe not hurt her, but wonder if he does threaten her, and Lily and Eden arrive just on time to see him void out or something like that.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was wondering if maybe like if Eden sends like void creatures to check on her mom, just in like a weird little twisted, like just checking on you sort of way, then he could like impersonate her.
Oh, just, that's like, go creepy. In. Oh, that's creepy. I like that.
And then they could like come on the scene and be like, hey, what the fuck? Like,
oh my gosh,
that would do that.
So creepy. Yeah, I also really like the idea of that because it's so freaking creepy. And also you could have it be from like Lily's point of view, where she goes into the house to meet Eden. Yeah. And Eden is already there. Prophet Junior can say some messed up stuff to her, and then she maybe turns around and sees, you know, Eden behind her and is like, oh shit, that's not you.
Yeah.
That's good. So we've established that he's enough of a void creature that he can kind of morph into other people. I do like that.
Yeah. I think at that point, like maybe he couldn't do it at first.
Yeah, because he's turning more and more.
Yeah,
I like the idea that it's kind of like, I do like the idea that Eden, there's like something about Eden that like meshes well with the void. She's able to like harness it. And there's something about Prophet Junior that doesn't. So it's kind of like eating him more than meshing with him. So
she's just in the corner, like gaslight gatekeep girl bossing her way straight to hell. Like,
so,
and maybe like, especially in the earlier fun and games, when she's messing with Eden some, like she's going to be making herself look pretty monstrous. She's going to be like doing all these things. And so it's kind of like foreshadowing that someone else, if they were to have that power, could impersonate her, could do other things.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a really good idea. Because we have to at some point figure out the kind of a little bit more of the mechanics of the void. And like, I don't need like a hard sci-fi version of fantasy. I don't need to figure out like 100% all the details, but like figuring out like a little bit about like what she would do with it, how she morphs into things. Like, is there black smoke involved? Is it gooey? Like, what does this look like on the page?
Venom situation.
Yeah, is it venom? Is it more mystique? Is it like, what does this look like? Just she turn into bats? Like, we'll have to figure this out eventually. I do like the idea of what you're saying about planting that in the reader's head, so she can morph into these like hideous, horrifying demon-like things.
Or she can like make you think that she is those things, even if she isn't necessarily doing it. She can make you think that that's what she looks like.
Gotcha. So sort of like a scarecrow from Batman type of situation where she's doing something to fuck with your brain.
Yeah. Oh, and it could be like, because Eden is part void and he's part void, they can like see through each other when they do it.
Oh,
and so they go in and she's like, Junior, what are you doing here? And Lily's like, why are you talking to yourself?
There's two you.
I thought you were doing this.
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's a perfect way of getting around the whole, the mom doesn't trust him and wouldn't talk to him, is that she thinks it is her daughter. And so he, as Eden, goes in, is like, tell me about the sacrifice. I need to talk to you about that day. Why did it go the way that it went, type of thing. And she would be like, well, I have theories, and I've talked with Prophet Senior about this, and I think it's because there was supposed to be a balance and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And it could be like things are ramping up with her mom too. Like she can tell, something's off. And now like Senior's dead. People are freaked, and like she's the only one left who had like a real front row seat to that day. And maybe she's afraid that like someone's going to come for her and she's going to die without having passed on basically like her daughter's origin.
I wonder if you can make it so that she's the only living person left. You could make her grandmother instead, so that like if her mother,
because we're going to kill Lily's parents, we're going to kill Prophet Senior, so even if like they were the only ones present for it,
well,
like it was super sacred, no one else was there.
It was like a small ceremony type thing.
Because it's like, who wants to watch people kill a baby?
Well, cults, I guess, but yeah, we could do could be a small,
or like everyone else
murder
was
ritual
back at the lighthouse, like watching from the other side of the horseshoe or something.
Cool. Yeah, I like the idea of her being like the last living person that actually saw what went down that day. For sure.
And that's something that I think about a lot as like a parent, just the fact that like, like our parents are gonna die, and it's like we are the ones like holding all of the pasts of our children, like all the things they can't remember, like we hold on to. And if like the things we don't share, they just stop existing when we stop existing. And so it's like these whole chunks of your past that it's like, oh, I'm just not gonna know that, And for the most part, we're fine with it. But like something big like that,
that's huge.
Really a problem if no one knew. Or if like
exactly
never got the answers. Because I'm sure she's been curious, and like maybe her mom hasn't wanted to talk about the day that she consented to sacrificing her baby for less fog. Like,
because that's not a little Mother of the Year award going on there. So I would imagine it would be and maybe Eden hasn't come to her in like a really, really long time. She like lives over the lighthouse now or whatever. So clearly she moved out early. And then when Prophet Junior comes to her looking like her, the mom is like, oh, now we can finally talk about it. Like, it's time. And like, how devastating would that be if you're like, my daughter's finally come to me, and you figure out that's not the case.
And maybe he like comes during the day or something, because I imagine Eden would check in on her every now and then, but would not really.
Or like, she just like
poke her head in at night.
He's just like set up like void gargoyles on her mother's roof
exactly. She's like, I've sent a few demons with some new bread
to check in on you.
Make sure you're not out of sugar.
That's great. Does the mom know the mom knows she's the void, right? Like,
I think so. But I think her mom knows.
I think the prophet, like everyone who was at the ceremony would probably know, right? Because I was
something was up, even if they didn't know everything.
Well, and maybe that's one of the reasons Prophet Senior has always like been so lenient with her too, is because it's like, you burn the motel down, but you're a void creature and don't want to tick you off too much.
And even like, even if he doesn't know, like, you're a hellion or whatever, like if you believe in God and you believe you made this sacrifice and you got your problem solved and the baby didn't die, maybe you would overlook some of the more demonic things and be like, obviously this is like,
she's a miracle child.
She's been touched by God. Like she can act a little nutty every now and then.
I think they'll end up being a big like theme with Prophet Senior, whereas like we have to accept the darkness with the light, like we have to accept the void that comes, you know, because we got rid of our problem, we were blessed. So like there's a darkness that comes with that light, and we have to accept that. And like we have to accept that she sometimes burns hotels down because she's the miracle child.
And just like we have to accept that there's something I don't understand about all of this, and that like God didn't want her dead.
Yeah, and exactly. So, like, yeah. And then Prophet Junior is like, no, you just messed up and we need to fix it, type of thing.
Yeah. So he sees her existence with these like seemingly supernatural abilities, even if he doesn't see how much ability she has, would see it as like, God's doing something here. I don't know what it is, but God's doing something.
So Prophet Junior, he's had the void in him for a little while before.
Yeah, so he's also had it for about 10 years now, right?
Yeah. Because the problem he needs to solve is the void. And therefore when Lily comes, he takes that as like a sign. So I don't know if we necessarily need to figure out when he did, but I think it definitely would be, I think it'd be when he was like young and foolish, and also when Eden did something that was like, well, that's it. I have to go try to do something so that I want to be a miracle child. I want my father's attention. I want to be the blessed child. So he would fully blame Eden for the fact that he became a void creature. You have a look on your face.
What if he tried to kill her that night when Lily ran away? Ooh. And like, so the cult has done all this stuff to try and keep Lily to stay. Mm-hmm. He's also a teen, presumably at this point. Yes. He wants Eden gone. He sees Lily get away, and he's there in the aftermath, which I kind of picture as like Eden on an empty shore, just like screaming her brains out. So what if he like came up behind her and was going to kill her then, and like goes to stab her or something, and the void just kind of like just gets inside of him that way, through like this thing that he would have seen as like, I was going to commit a sin or this better thing, and now this is like a permanent mark of a sin I was going to do.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Or sin he really did.
Yeah, he did.
If he stabs her, then I have the like feeling of picturing like her being stabbed, like probably in the back because he's a coward, and her just turning around because she's already screaming, she's already pissed, because her just turning around screaming, and then he just does like his eyes glow with the void as she like screams at him or something, sort of like the lighthouse does at the end.
And I kind of imagine that she wouldn't even fully realize, because
she
can't die by normal human means. And so I think she would feel any pain from that and attribute it to the pain of Lily leaving. And might not even necessarily realize that that's what he was there to do. And like, how twisted would it be if like he's just stabbed you, gets this power, and he's like, oh shit, she's gonna end me, and she just like turns around and thinks he's there to comfort her or something.
That would be very screwed up. I think she would still feel the knife is the only problem. So I wonder if question. I wonder if there's a way that we can,
how could we do it so that she wouldn't immediately know that the void is in him and that he's an enemy?
Yeah, because maybe she doesn't see who stabs her.
Oh, everything just goes dark.
Yeah, so maybe he maybe he stabs her in the back. She doesn't see who it is, because maybe the void reacts in her when she gets like hurt like that in some way and like takes over momentarily type of thing.
Because we did talk about like when she gets pushed off the lighthouse, it's just there's gonna be a break in time.
Yeah,
like a moment for her body to be like, we're okay.
Yeah. Does the void resurrect her? Like, does she die and come back, or does it just like not, she just doesn't die?
I've been imagining it repairs.
Yeah,
and so like she wouldn't fully die,
right?
But it might take a moment.
Because well, in that case she would maybe be actually dead and just coming back, but it would need to repair anyways, because she can't just walk around stabbed full of holes.
I mean, what's the difference between dead and knocked out when you know your body's going to fix itself?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what a knife would do. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically we could have him stab her and we would have to figure out the mechanics of it in some way that she didn't know it was him that did it. Like maybe he has a hood over his head or something. And then she
drowns her instead. Just puts her face in the sea.
Oh, we could do that. And then, she wouldn't be able to tell. And then once she drags herself back up on shore, maybe he's sitting there on the beach because he's like devastated he's done this. And she's just like,
oh my God, are you okay? I thought you were dead. And she's like, you're here.
Can you imagine if she's like, her body's like floating on the surface and he's like, she's dead. What have I done? I've sinned. And he's sitting there crying on the shore. And then that he'd be completely freaked out, right? If she just like pops her head up and is like, whoa, swallowed some water there.
Yeah.
And then comes back out and is like, hugs him or whatever and is like sobbing.
It's just like, did you see who did it? Like, did you see anyone?
Or maybe she even like, he pushes her and she hits her head on rocks on the way down and just thinks she slipped or something even,
Yeah. And I think maybe something that he particularly hates about her as adults is because I don't picture her distrusting him at all. Like I don't picture her as thinking he's someone who could trifle with them at any point.
Yeah.
And
because she's cocky.
Yeah, she's cocky and she has so much else to deal with. And so imagine that he would see this like benevolence in her that is also attributed to his father. And it would be like this extra thing that he hates in her, this thing that like, of course you would wake up to the man who tried to kill you and assume he's your rescuer.
To comfort you. Yeah. Yeah, I really like the idea if he shoves her off, like maybe she's on like a point in the water, like rocks or something, and he goes behind her while she's like screaming at the ocean for Lily to come back or something.
And maybe like the rocks are cracking, demons are going crazy, it's a lot all at once.
And he shoves her off.
Yeah.
She hits her head on the way down. She's floating. There's blood. He's like, what have I done?
He runs down.
Yeah. And is like, maybe he doesn't try to fish her out of the water. Maybe he's just sitting there. And when she wakes up and comes back on shore, he's like, I thought you were dead. And he's like pale and shaking. And she's like, oh, you're here to try to save me.
Yeah.
Gives him a little cuddle. The murderer. And that, because at what point does he already realize at that point when he tries to kill her that she's the void? I can't remember if we've established that. Because if not, that would be when he would figure it out real fast.
Yeah, I don't think he knows at that point. I think he just sees her, or maybe he suspects at that point that something's going on. Like, why can she? I imagine it's a poorly kept secret that she's able to go out at night. She just like, why does she get to do these things?
The miracle child or whatever, and that's why she can go out at night. And he is resentful of her.
And I think at that point he already might have it in his head a little bit that like it wasn't a sacrifice, which means like bad things are still happening.
Yeah, I think maybe that Prophet Senior is like, she's a miracle child, it's from God, and maybe Prophet Junior is more skeptical and thinks maybe she's not from God. And
Yeah.
maybe him trying to kill her, it's a jealousy thing, but he tries to tell himself, God wants me to do this type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we've worked out a lot tonight.
Yeah, I feel like this is really coming together. I'm excited about this.
I guess so. We've worked out the gist of Prophet Junior's whole thing. We should probably give him a name at some point.
Oh yeah, right.
We've got the bare bones of everything. So I guess I'm curious from here, do you want to do like some chapter by chapter work? Do you want to like just start writing? Like
what I do personally is I do go scene by scene.
Okay.
And do like a really rough like plot beats of each scene. I don't know about you. What do you do?
In my personal work, I typically do like, honestly, I don't even know. With my vampire book, I went out scene by scene and I wrote it all out. With the book I wrote before that, I did like every 4 scenes and like wrote my way to it.
Right.
I like the speed that having scene by scene offers, but I also know like
it changes as you go along.
Yeah, it changes as you go along, and like discovery is important. So I do like the idea of like chatting about the plot every so often.
I like that idea. I think that maybe we could do something like what we've got here and do like a fairly detailed outline just overall. So fill in some of the gaps here, and then we could maybe plan 2 or 3 scenes in advance just so that you and I know what we're writing. It also depends what we want to do as far as like, I want to say schedule sounds too official, but like how we want to write it. It's like, if you want me to write one scene, I send it to you and then you write the other scene and we go back and forth, or we write scenes at the same time, or what you want to do.
When I write with Kyra, because we're pantsing a lot of it, we have to send it to each other.
Yeah.
I do think it would be fun if we're gonna have scene by scene, like if we both just write our next scene and share it with each other, and not necessarily have to wait for like
I think you're right
to be done.
Yeah, I think a combination of that would be good, where like you said, you know, it's fun to see what the other person has written. I want to know what happens, but then I also
and how it is like said,
how it's unfolding, who's saying what, the dynamic. I think it's important too to share scenes so you know like the dynamics between the characters. And
you want a semi-cohesive voice. I don't think our authorial voices are that different from each other, but like there is some differences. There are some differences, and so
yeah, definitely. I mean, like having different voices is one of the strengths of a dual POV, but yeah, having like your character says this in this type of tone, knowing what your character sounds like is going to be important for me to write your character during my scene. So yeah, I think that we could do maybe 2 scenes in advance and just be like, I'll do this one, you do that one, then we'll put it together.
Check
and
back in.
See how it reads. And I think also it would be interesting to do recordings of us. Kind of, I don't know what we could do. I don't know how that will work. We do live sprints.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we'll figure something out for the actual drafting process. But it's exciting. We were going over one more thing with Prophet Junior. Do we want to name him something really biblical, like Ezekiel or something?
That's good.
I feel like it should be biblical.
Yeah.
Good old Ezzy. Or Josiah. Or Jacob. Esau. So many potential names. Judas.
Like Ezra. I think that one's fun.
Okay. Ezra.
Or like
Jebediah.
John.
You could do John. Very biblical name. John Jr.
The most
and John
boring biblical name.
Moses.
Cyrus.
Cyrus is good. Cyrus sounds like a bad guy.
Yeah. Let's try Cyrus.
Sure. Down, I'm down.
Try it on for size.
Yeah. Cool. I like Cyrus, actually. I think it's kind of perfect. I don't know about you, but I'm a Pinterest person, so I would definitely like create a board at some point.
A shared board.
Yeah. So we can like see what he looks like and stuff. Also, that'll be something good to like kind of link to people that are watching the chats and be like, these are what we're picturing. Yeah, what was the last things we were working out for Cyrus? I feel like there was one or two more things.
So we were working out at the time
that he was trying to kill.
That he tried to kill her. He
tried
sees
to
the
kill
void as this like sign of his sin. And I guess if he sees it in him as a sign of sin, of course, if he sees it in Eden, he would also see it.
Yeah. And
as
Eden
sin.
has even more void in her. So
yeah,
he
yeah.
is going to be like, he could also see like, it would be really symbolic for him because he sees her as like what he could turn into if he doesn't take care of this.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have to cleanse this cult. I have to cleanse me and I have to cleanse her. And this is the only way to do it type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe just write in a little note at the beginning about how I do like the idea of him pushing her off the rocks and then telling her some lie about how she slipped. Because then though, especially if the rocks are wet and it's believable, because then she can go forward in the rest of the story without suspecting him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's like actually a good person. He like pulled me out of the water type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, oh, there was a great crack on the rocks and I saw you fall. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
You're Erin R. Latimer on Pinterest, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Just sent you an invite to the Pinterest board.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I think you'll have to write in the tries to kill her thing because I can't get
Oh,
one.
yeah. I have it in my personal notes too.
Yeah, and she can even have like that's the night that he gets the void in him. Maybe because he killed her, tried to kill her. I wonder if technically he did kill her and the void momentarily jumped into him or something. I don't know if it works that way. Something like that. Or just a mere act of murder.
Maybe he like threw her in the trench and she like comes out of it again and he's like, he could be having second thoughts or like, oh, I'll need to bring her body in or something. And like he touches her and that's when it goes in him.
Oh, yeah. What if he touches her just as the void is like healing her or awakening her?
He like goes to grab her arm and his fingers just like slip into this wound that he's created or something.
So creepy. I like it. Yes. And it definitely like, because this is a horror story, we can do a full like, he's cracked her skull open basically. Yeah. And he's like, that doesn't look like her brain. What the hell is in there? Like accidentally gets his fingers in there. Yeah. Gross, but perfect. Okay. So that is how he gets the void in him. And then, yeah, when they kill Prophet Senior, it like cinches it for him. And he takes over the cult through fear and intimidation, starts like pushing out more demons and stuff. He can do this crazy stuff now. He's figuring out.
Yeah. And so I think he has like at the beginning a little bit, it's just like, oh, this guy's kind of intense. And then once his dad dies, it's like he goes really, like full Yeah, there's no one there to stop him, really.
So the point, like a lot of this is happening behind the scenes. The point where Eden and Lily clue in that he's been doing this shit is when they find out he's the void creature, or one of the void creatures, because they find him at Eden's mom's place.
Yeah.
And
maybe they start to heavily suspect right before that, when he like tries to kill Eden.
Yeah, I think so. Because Eden's like, there's more demons than there's supposed to be. Who is doing this stuff? So it would make sense that they would figure out something else is going on. And
even if he just tries to kill her, she's like, oh, this guy's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And they don't know how much of a problem until
like he shouldn't have been able to get that close to even killing me.
Yes. And then he's looks like her, he has her face. This is a problem.
And maybe like she's really shaken after that brush with death, whereas like she gets thrown off of the lighthouse and she just walks home and is like, should we make out maybe? But this like has her rattled, which is obviously a big red flag to both her and Lily.
And I think because we've already started to realize, Lily and Eden started to realize they have feelings for each other, they have to work together. And I think seeing Eden rattled, Lily would be like, oh shit, this is serious. Like,
I'm saving so many pins right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I googled seaside creepy aesthetic and it's not failing me.
I'm trying to figure out how to minimize my screen so I can go here. I can't minimize it. Wait, view? No. Wait, exit full screen. Exit full screen. Did that work? Yes.
Cackling gleefully. I love a good Pinterest board.
Go to my Pinterest so I can. Notifications. Maisie Patrick invited you to the board. Let's join a cult. Except I have accepted.
This is how everyone joins. Your friend is like, hey, maybe we should join a cult.
I have accepted. You're like, well,
I mean, yeah,
the cult invitation. But there's just someone carrying someone else in over the shoulder carry down this beach for some reason.
Spooky.
Spooky. It's the prophet after having murdered her. Damn you, Prophet Junior. This one has noise.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like creepy train whistles.
Oh,
the one you first pinned scared the crap out of me.
That's my bad. I did not know that. You're welcome, though.
Click on spooky lighthouses. Welcome to the chat. It is just me and Maisie just
watching us pin things in real time.
Watching us pin things.
I'll drop a link. I'll leave a note in the notes for this week to drop a link to this Pinterest. So I'm sure it will be so packed full of stuff by the time this video goes up.
Spooky seasides, menacing seagulls.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Starburst around those notes so I don't miss it. But if you're watching this and I have forgotten, please shout at me in the comments.
You can yell at us. As long as you yell nice things.
Yeah.
Then it's fine.
Yeah, if you yell mean things, I will cry and go hide under a rock.
I will delete you. Okay.
And then she'll have to go find me under a rock somewhere.
You're like, they're gone. I deleted them. You can come out from the rock. I think we have a story coming.
I think we do.
I'm so excited. Yes.
And I'm excited. I'm sure when we're writing, we'll come up with like, oh, this thing was obvious. What if we do this other thing that's more fun, or more twisted? I feel like we have like a really solid start.
I think so. I'm excited. Do we want to start planning out the first few scenes next session? Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, I think we'll do scene by scene next session. Whether we get through I'm certain we won't get through everything, but at least a solid chunk of it.
Yeah, it's exciting. So maybe, we'll sit down and plan out 2 scenes, obviously a Lily scene and an Eden scene.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of like do the in-between writing part of it. And then I'm not sure, maybe planning the next scene, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we want to show of like actual writing. I don't know.
I could see doing most of the writing on our own time, but then maybe doing some like live sprints with people where that's what we're working on.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it would be, I know some people watch our sprints after the fact, which is like so cool. And I seriously love all of you who do that. I think that is really, really cool. I don't know that we would have like a massive audience who would want to watch us in silence the whole time, but I don't know.
I think we can do live sprints so people can join us during.
And I'm sure we'll need to chat about things in between.
Yeah, exactly. And then mostly I'm guessing what we'll be doing for the next few sessions while we're actually writing is like getting together and discussing like where we're going next. Like also sort of what we do in writers group where it's like, hey, I read your chapter. This is great, but what if we go in this direction? Or like, let's do more of this in the next one, like that type of thing. So I'm sure we'll have tons to discuss.
I'm sure there'll be like lines and stuff that we'll want to share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be kind of fun to do. Like, I don't mind like if at some point people are like, yeah, we want to see like a snippet from it. I don't mind like if I'm drafting, I can go back and like polish it up a teeny bit before like showing anyone live, but yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
I am fully the type of person where I would like run it by you, of course, first, but be like, Erin wrote this super awesome line. Here it is.
Yes.
Look at this line Erin wrote. I love it.
Yeah, or like a favorite scene snippet or something. Like
yeah.
That would be awesome. I think we could do that.
Yeah, because we do want to share as much as possible, but don't want it to be mega boring, only semi-boring.
Only a little bit boring. Yeah, I think too that showing people like the process of actually drafting is interesting as well. Like, because I know that, I kind of, it would be interesting. I don't think that because I've seen some channels where they actually sit down and you can see them writing on the screen. And I'm like,
stresses me
out. Like so much pressure.
Yeah.
Because like when I'm writing, I'm just like, this is all bullshit.
Sometimes I write that. I'm like, I don't know, come back and fix this.
Exactly. Yeah. I just know. I was looking at, I don't remember who it was doing it, but she was just writing and I'm like, well, it's not necessarily good writing, but also like my writing is always garbage at first. Like,
I just don't show it to people.
Exactly. Like that's very brave of that person.
And so then it's like,
that.
Yeah, go you.
Yeah. I don't have the balls to do that. So
I can see we could talk about like, if we are just both writing like mostly in one sitting once a week or something on this, then like we could just do it at the time we're already doing it, and just do like a little write-in where there is an understanding that we'll probably stop and brainstorm things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
We have a lot of options. So who knows?
Yeah,
I'm having great fun though.
It is very fun. And it's funny because I like this is also going faster than I thought it would. Like I definitely thought we would, because like if we're planning on posting the videos kind of in July, like I was like, oh, we'll be started writing around July. We'll be like a little bit into it in July. And I'm like, oh no, it is the beginning of May.
I'm like, I do probably one more meeting and then I'm ready to start.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so for sure. Writing out, planning out the first couple scenes and then starting on it.
Yeah.
But I think, I think something we could do when we first start posting the videos is kind of posting a regularly scheduled one that we already have, because we have a collection of them, and then kind of doing sprints in between, maybe. For particularly for Camp Nano, right? Kind of perfect timing.
Yeah. I think we talked about starting to publish the planning ones in June.
Right. Yes.
That's like
you are correct.
Prep for camp. So
yes.
That'll buy us a little time.
Yes. Yeah, see, Liz, you're also seeing behind the scenes us figuring out what the fuck is going on when it comes to actually releasing this.
We are not pantsing this book. However, we are pantsing this virtual project.
This project, 100%. Yep.
So yeah, and it is kind of weird pre-recording it because no way to know what the reception will be to
exactly this. Well, the way I look at it is, like, I don't know about you, but I am not very involved in social media at this point, because I like kind of burnt out on Twitter and like a little bit on Instagram and everything. But I feel like this project is a way to like take something I really, really enjoy, which is like brainstorming a book with a friend, co-writing a project. Like, that's very exciting to me. So I'm like, if I can somehow like capitalize on that and put that on social media, that sounds good to me, because if it takes off or people like it, fantastic. If it doesn't, this is still so much fun and we get a book out of it, right?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm on social media a lot more than you, but not as much as I was when we started the WordNerds. I personally I like being on YouTube because I like the community that we've built here, and I'm glad we built a community in this spot on YouTube. I don't have a huge personal interest. Like, if the channel stayed exactly the way it is now, I would be a very happy writer. Like, I love the community the way it is. And for me, I am enjoying sharing it. And for me, it's like, I just hope the people that watch this channel don't look at this and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you showing us this? You should have kept this in your drafts. Like,
oof. You have not seen my drafts then. This is way better than a lot of my drafts. No, I think like putting this on the WordNerd channel is like kind of perfect, because we already have this small insular community that like are really amazing. Like, there's no trolls, there's no like negative comments, aside from like the random bots that we just delete.
So many like, random sex bots lately. What are they doing here? Why do they keep coming back?
We talk about books, right?
Why? I delete so many sex bots. So do they think we're not a real channel anymore? Like,
so weird. But like our real people, the people that actually come regularly, like I know all their names, like I like know about their lives, some of them, that people that share, like, I don't know, it's just kind of the perfect place to experiment with something like this and share something that is a little bit intimate. It's behind the scenes. It's showing us in a, not a vulnerable way, but a little bit. It feels like this is the start of something rough. And like, these guys are here on the journey with us, and like, hopefully it's fun and not boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and you're going to see us trying to draft and figure out plot holes, and like stuff is going to go kind of wrong sometimes. And like, maybe I'll record myself having a, that first third of the book meltdown, you're welcome in advance.
Yeah.
This is the process of writing.
And truly, when you've been on YouTube as long as we have, and when like we started with videos every day of the week, and that was a mistake, we ran out of stuff to talk about so fast. Like, there's almost nothing we could do on this channel that we haven't done before,
except for this.
But this is like, it's something new that we've never done before, and I think that's why I was excited by it when you reached out to me, because I do love putting stuff on this channel, but I don't love feeling like we're like rehashing things and not offering new things to the people who are like giving us some of their time by choosing to watch our content.
I think this is really different. It's not going to be it's not going to be some people's cup of tea. And
Yeah.
I really want like our regulars to know as well that if they don't engage in this, like that's okay. There's no pressure, because like this is long and it's rambling and we're not doing jump cuts. We used to have really professional quality, well, not professional quality videos where we do like jump cuts and get to the point quick and stuff. But like you are really seeing behind the scenes. We want, like Maisie and I wanted to keep this like as low effort as possible so that
On
we
the
can
editing
really,
side,
yeah, on the editing side, just so that we can fully enjoy this for what it is, which is this, yeah, like a raw, real look at the process of brainstorming and writing without any kind of like fancy spin on it, right? You don't even get jump cuts. You just get us rambling. You're welcome again.
This is what it's like in my brain every hour of the day.
Exactly.
My internal monologue does not turn off.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
but I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Having a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what the actual drafting process is like. We're still working out what it will be like, you know, how we're going to record the drafting process, but we'll see as we go.
Yeah, all of that to say, if you're watching this right now, like, thank you so much.
Thanks for still being here.
Yeah. I think I've said this before, but it never stops feeling very cool and feeling like such a privilege that we have a channel and that people watch it.
Actually watch us.
Yeah.
It feels surreal after however many years.
Yeah. And truly, if you have made it to this video, like, holy shit.
What are you doing with your life? No, I'm kidding. We love you. Please don't go away.
If you've watched this and thought like, wow, they're really bad storytellers, like I can promise you in 1 month, I will be thinking the same thing about myself. So
full meltdown. Every time I write a book, I have a meltdown. Like every time. And like, I will send it to my agent or my editor and still be melting down. Like, here's a pile of crap for you. There you go. Yeah. So, and it's never as bad as you think it is.
Never.
So there's your encouragement for the day.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as you think it is.
If you are like planning along with us with your own projects, or if you're, you know, writing a book, please let us know how it's going. If you're sharing your process on any other social media, we would love to cheer you on as well. Let us know.
And like we talked about it before, but I'm going to try to like, I can't get into the channel anymore because YouTube has changed a bunch of crap, but I'm going to try like to go and answer comments and stuff if I can remember to. But in the case that I don't, because I'm flaky and terrible at social media, come hunt me down on Instagram, because I am still mostly on there. I won't volunteer Maisie for this, but you can DM me. I'm happy to answer questions about writing and the writing process and brainstorming and stuff. So I love to chat with people about writing.
You can DM me. I can promise you I will see it. On Instagram. It might take me a while to see it because it goes to that special folder and I always forget to check it.
The filter folder, yeah.
I will definitely see it and I will think about replying to it. And 85% of the time, I will wait one day too long and be like, well, they don't want to hear back from me now. They'll be like, what is she
again? You're like, Maisie, I do want to hear back from you. But yeah, so we're occasionally hard to reach. But like I said, if you're like, I need this question answered.
No, now that we post less on YouTube, I am pretty good about like if someone asks us a question on on a newer video, then I'll go and answer it. Sometimes I'll ask questions on like videos that are 7 years old, and it's like I don't even know what advice I gave in this video. I cannot give you a solid answer. I'm so sorry.
That's the thing. This is going to be like a new uploaded project that is like in the process of being uploaded. So it's not a 7-year-old video people are asking questions on that. No, we probably won't get back to that. But
yeah, people are like, oh wow, do you still do this method for writing? It's like, I wasn't even writing then. I thought I was.
Yeah, so much of advice is like either prescriptive or it's like something that I don't even necessarily do anymore, which doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that the writing process is constantly evolving, and I don't think ever really stops evolving.
Yeah, writing advice pretty much everywhere was so prescriptive back when we started the channel.
Really it was. But yeah, it really is just like
it's not now.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people particularly writers as they grow and change and get better, figure out the fact that like, if it's prescriptive, it's not necessarily good advice. Like, because you should grow and change and improve your technique, you know? So
yeah. And honestly, part of it could have been, the amount of time spent on writing, but I really think I started improving so much once I stopped following prescriptive advice and just kind of let myself have fun and figure out what I enjoyed doing.
And like, for me, every project is different. Like I will plot a wildly different way and edit a wildly different way for every single project, which is a part of the reason I melt down for every project. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I just remind myself, every project is different. All the advice is different.
Well, anyway, that's a lot of words for wrapping up. You guys are all amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to stop this recording now because I truly, truly could talk about this
forever.
All night. Like
100%.
Join us
also
next week.
Join us next week and let us know what you want to see from us too. Like if you're like, I definitely want excerpts, I want more, like if you want Maisie and I to sit and talk more about writing the process, like let us know that too. What are you interested in? This is an evolving project. We don't know what we're doing. So let us know what you want. Never, ever.
Yeah.
Bye.